Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the Frontline Changes report. And yesterday don't have that much changes. Suddenly today there is a lot of changes, and it looks like the Russians no quietness at the Avdiivka front. Suddenly they wind down the operation of sort, or maybe the Ukrainians has finally gotten their hands on all the ammunition and managed to hold the Russian offensive in the Avdiivka front. Is kind of a scam, because the Russians suddenly make massive push over in the other front lines. So we're going to cover these frontline changes now. There's frontline changes over at Spurny, Berestove. This Berestove is the one just south of Spurny, Vimka, Vasily, and then Krasnohorivka. This one is at the Avdiivka front. Netelove, Pervomayske, Krasnohorivka, Urozhaine, Staromaiorske, and Robotyne. So let's start off with the situation at the Siversk front. So there is a number of frontline change around here. If you look at the Deep State UA's report, because they are based on their own mapping, it looks a lot more frontline change than this. Because a lot of spaces they list it as gray zone, or they did not acknowledge certain geolocation change. So based on our mapping, Ukrainian forces taken some ground south of Spurny. Suddenly my nose stuck. Give me a moment. So so the Russian forces over in the south of Spurny managed to capture this ground. So in the southern part here, they have taken this tree line around here, taken this T junction of the tree line, and taken also another area here in this southwestern part of Spurny. So, and over in this direction, along this railway line around this region here towards Vimka, the Russian forces have taken a lot of grounds in this area here, and also basically making the front line a lot more straighter. So this actually winds up very similar to where we have previously mapped. This is based on geolocation previously, so this now seems to make more sense now. The front lines around here, and there's also around Vasily. Ukrainian mapping now has disclaimed certain parts of Vasily that was already mapped as under Russian control. It did not go to the extent of where the Russians have mapped it, but very, very close already. So this is the frontline change over the Siversk front. If you zoom out a bit, we'll see the extent. So there is a push over in the Spurny, south of Spurny region, southwest of Spurny. There's an attack towards Vimka in this direction towards Vimka, and so there's also this attack in this Vasily region, expanding the control, creating more security around this Vasily region. So that's all from the Spurny region, and we move on away from the Spurny. So from the Siversk front, we move into the Avdiivka front. So over at Krasnohorivka, so the front line change is around here. We see the Russian forces pushing towards Krasnohorivka, in the north of Netelove a little bit, and in the south of Pervomayske. So in the Krasnohorivka region, the Russian forces has pushed closer to this possible strong defensive position, and the Russian forces are expanding their control through this T junction of a tree line, and moving gradually moving towards Krasnohorivka. South of this position, the Russian forces have taken another tree line and securing this entire tree line, small little tree line around here. This tree line here is listed as a gray zone by the Ukrainian mapping, but I guess it's most likely under Russian control by now. So this is the northeast of Netelove. Over in the south of Pervomayske, Russian forces has punched through this tree line. So this tree line managed to hold. Maybe the Ukrainians have very strong positions around the other tree lines and this fortification. So maybe these tree lines are all stronger, more well defended by the Ukrainians. But this one particularly got broken through by the Russian forces. So this area here is now under threat. with this progress, if the Russians continue to push through this Ukrainian tree line around here, will be untenable. It will be encircled. So I believe that the Ukrainian forces over here will have to redraw. So this defensive position is just cursed. It's just very cursed. But yeah, we will continue to monitor and see this change around here. The next frontline change is over at the Battle of Krasnohorivka. So according to the Ukrainian mapping, they have shown that the Russian forces have entered into Krasnohorivka proper. They have entered into this eastern neighborhood and taken positions in the northern part of this eastern part. This area here that the Russians have penetrated to is not the defensive position. The heavy entrenchment is south of this. The other side is supposedly protected by this heavy entrenchment around here. So, but the fact that the Russian forces have taken away these defensive positions, even if the Ukrainians still have defensive position north of this area here, it no longer matter, as the Russian forces can break through this opening, and they will be able to hit to the rear of this defensive position to cut off or encircle them. So we will see a Ukrainian withdrawal from this eastern front line very soon. So this is a massive breakthrough for the Russians in the Battle of Krasnohorivka. So we will definitely continue to monitor and see how this progress. The situation at Krasnohorivka is looking horrible right now because the Russians are now attacking from two different directions, exactly how the Russians love to do it. So the next frontline change, if we move on from Krasnohorivka, is at Urozhaine and Staromaiorske. So there is massive changes over in the Staromaiorske Urozhaine region in the Donetsk front. And you can see the amount of red here is ridiculous. Based on the Ukrainian mapping, the Russian forces have entered into the southern part of Krasnohorivka. Staromaiorske. So the Russian forces have penetrated this much over here. Based on Russian mapping, the Russians also have retaken the southern part of Urozhaine that was previously recaptured by the Ukrainians, and the extent over on the eastern part of Staromaiorske is a bit more as well. That all the tree lines at the eastern part of Staromaiorske has been taken. So with this, this is now a coordinated effort between the fighting at Urozhaine and Staromaiorske. Both sides, the Russians assault groups have entered into the southern part of the respective settlements. Then the battle is definitely going to wage into this area here. So far, based on the activities or the actions of the Ukrainian side, it looks like the Ukrainians are not going to give up these two settlements at all. They're going to try their best to fight it, and they will be probably sending reinforcement or doing counterattack to make sure that they will not allow the Russians to take these positions. So this is the current situation, and you can see that it's looking like it's like a diversionary when all the attention is now at the Avdiivka breakout. And the ammunition and the arms that is approved around a week ago, maybe they are now arriving into the front line, and they were first sent to the Avdiivka front, maybe. And now the Russians suddenly launched massive assault over on the other fronts, on the both sides of the Avdiivka front, one on the Siversk, one on the Donetsk front at the Velikonovo-Silka sector. Both is really far away from Avdiivka. So this is going to create operational conundrum for the Ukrainian side. But maybe, of course, there's a possibility that the Ukrainians have received this much ammunition and equipment that they can actually spread it out evenly. So, but we will continue to watch and see how this progress. These changes are a lot for 24 hours reporting. But of course, it could also be that there is operational secrecy, so we did not have this information despite this was actually progress over a few days. So that's also a possibility. So and the one last frontline change is over at Robotyne, over at the Zaporizhia front. So at this area here, there is a geolocation of Ukrainian forces getting attacked by the thermobaric missiles near this heavy entrenchment, which means that the Ukrainian forces actually have firm control around this area, which invalidates part of these Russian claims. And given the actions and the geolocations that are coming out from this area here, it looks like the Russian claims was again premature. So most of this area here that is now contested, this is a gray zone of some sort. Looks like it's likely to be not accurate. It looks like it is the Ukrainians that's actually holding these positions. So anyway, whatever it is, we will continue to monitor. That's why we have two mappings. This helps us to make sure that we are not we are not brainwashed into thinking that the Russians are taking more grounds than they actually do. So anyway, this is the Frontline changes report. Do check out the situation report later, because there is so many changes. I might as well just do this Frontline changes first, and then the sitrep later as a separate video around maybe 8 to 12 hours later. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next update.